So, you want to build a PC? Well, you definitely came to the right place. We do that every week here on the channel, and as a result, I've got quite the back catalog of configurations that I've both assembled and tested. Some people in the comments are quick to say, you're just playing around with hardware because you can, and yeah, that's exactly true. But there is a reason to my madness, and today we're going to take a look back at the previous year of builds here on the channel and examine the highs, the lows, and the reasons that we do this. Corsair introduces their newest RGB-infused peripheral to help you get a leg up on the competition, the Core Rgb Pro. An 18,000 dpi PixArt optical sensor gives you unparalleled precision, while the interchangeable side grips mean that you could customize the look and feel of the Core to meet your needs. You also get premium features like USB-C charging, switches rated for 50 million clicks, 8 programmable buttons, 50 hours of battery life, and onboard profile storage. Check out the link below or head to Corsair.com to learn more. Before we dive into the juicy statistics driving this week's video, don't forget that if you want to see PC build content every week, or mostly every week I guess, then the thing to do right now is to hit that subscribe button and the notification icon. YouTube doesn't have the greatest track record of delivering content to sub boxes, so just so you know, every Sunday you could come right back here for a fresh video. Inevitably, when you do any PC build content, or any tech content, or literally any content at all, you'll be called a shill. So far in my career, I've been an Intel shill, an AMD shill, an NVIDIA shill, a shill for Corsair, a shill for Asus, a shill for systems integrators like iBuyPower, and a shill for retailers like Amazon. Apparently, I'm the best shiller around because, damn, my allegiances switch at the drop of a hat. But I wanted to examine my content over the past year to see exactly how I was distributing the build that I've done for you guys. So I went through my entire video catalog over the past 12 months and put together some data for you. And to be honest, for me too. This will help me inform my decisions moving forward, as you'll soon see. Since August of 2019, I've done a total of 29 PC build videos on the channel. They've been pretty eclectic too. I've done a dual system build. I've gamed on the side of a PC tower. I've built 3 full custom water-cooled systems. I've built things wrong on purpose. I've done things wrong by accident. I built one of the world's smallest gaming PCs. I put together one of the world's first Intel 10th gen systems. I've given away 3 full builds to viewers. And finally, I've recently transitioned my content exclusively into doing these types of PC system projects every week. Over the course of the last year, of the 29 builds, 19 of them have used AMD processors and 10 have been Intel, and I think this is just about the right ratio. Although AMD 3rd Gen Ryzen has rightfully dominated the landscape of PC DIY, Intel's 10th Gen does certainly have some merit and deserves at least some exposure. But the almost 2-to-1 ratio is about what I think is appropriate. If we move over to the graphics side of things, 11 systems have used AMD GPUs and 16 have used NVIDIA GPUs, and 2 have been APU builds with no discrete graphics solution. Considering the massive market share and performance lead that NVIDIA has in this segment, this is actually a lot closer than I would have expected, and I think that I found a good balance between featuring video cards from the 2 main competitors. Now let's look at price. I broke things down into 5 categories. We have sub $500, $500 to $1,000, $1,000 to $1,500, $1,500 to $2,000, and $2,000 and above. I actually was surprised to see that the plurality of systems that I've built have come at a cost that exceeds $2,000, and I'm glad that I did this breakdown so that I know that maybe I should try to focus more on the budget-friendly parts list in the future. The sub $1,000 PC market is the biggest one out there, and especially with a new generation of CPUs and GPUs right around the corner, it might be a great time to scoop up previous gen stuff at a steep discount and slot right into that segment. To be fair though, component pricing this year has been so out of whack that a PC normally priced at $1,000 might very well end up costing $1,500, so this chart might be a little bit skewed. Also, high-end systems are without a doubt more fun to test. And anytime that I try to visit an editing PC or a dedicated streaming system, inevitably things do get a little spendy. So there are definitely reasons that I've done more expensive builds than cheap ones, but I'll make an effort to go the other way when I can. Now, while the majority of my audience wants to see gaming PCs, of course there are other use cases, and I do try to target them every once in a while. We did 20 gaming PC builds on the channel last year, and 9 that would fall into an other category. So this would be things like editing systems, streaming builds, or productivity machines. For form factor, we definitely skewed big, as between ATX mid-tower and ATX full-tower, 23 out of 29 systems were considered not small form factor. This is more a function of case releases than anything else, really. We saw far more ATX chassis released this year than micro ATX or mini ITX, and whenever an interesting enclosure comes into the office, I do try to build in it no matter what size it happens to be. The majority of cases are ATX or full ATX, and this is the result. I'd certainly like to see more well thought out small cases get released, and I'll do my best to build in them if they do come into the office, as I know that you guys enjoy that kind of content. The last breakdown I did was color. There's a real vocal minority out there that screams at me every time I leave a fan on rainbow, but you know what? I like rainbow. My main editing system that I use every day and sits on my desk is rainbow. It looks cool. It's just not cool to say that you think it looks cool. But in the interest of not offending my entire audience, I do try to mix it up color-wise. Of the 29 builds, 11 have been rainbow, 7 have been a specific color or colors, so this would be like the white build or the Wounded Warrior PC, which was red, white, and blue. And 11 systems have no RGB or coloring of any significance. So I'm going to claim victory over this category. I clearly do not shill for the big rainbow unicorn poop conglomerate. So why talk about all this? Because I think it's important to understand how hardware performs when partnered with other components. Does a CPU or GPU experience any kind of performance bottleneck? Is there any thermal throttling going on? Does a case present a great aesthetic, but a poor build experience? Is a certain power supply powerful enough? Is one memory configuration better than another? The only real way to have this data and to be able to intelligently talk about why you might want to build System A versus System B is to test them. Of course, you can get a general idea from specs, published data, press releases, and even just pricing information. But unless you've actually done the legwork, it's possible that you could build the perfect theoretical system and then experience stuttering or overheating or fitment issues. I know that my job seems fun, and for the most part it is, I'm not gonna lie, but it is actually a job. I have to put serious hours into it. I have to plan builds that I haven't done before. I have to interface with vendors. I have to coordinate sponsors. And of course, I have to make sure that I have enough time to shoot, edit, and publish the video while still leaving enough time to occasionally see my wife. It's not an easy gig, but I do enjoy doing it because it allows me to bank a tremendous amount of knowledge and experience in this field. And I hope that I've been able to impart at least some of that onto you guys as well. Doing a full breakdown of all the builds that I've done just kind of allows me to see that I'm not, in fact, favoring one company over another, at least as much as I reasonably can, as this might skew the data and my overall opinion. As much as some people might want to believe otherwise, I try to remain as neutral as possible. So let's wrap this up with some quick hits. The most expensive system that I put together in the last year was, in fact, my daily driver editing build. At the time, it was a $7,000 beast of a machine, and I continue to use it every single day. It's been fantastic, and I've had virtually zero issues with it. Although by this point, it does need some maintenance and I might rebuild it soon. The cheapest PC was the $48 Newegg Disaster, where I tried to put together the cheapest functional PC that I could using all parts found on Newegg. But other than that, I did also do a $280 gaming PC. That was pretty cool. I think the worst build that I did, or at least the one that I was most unhappy or disappointed with, was the soft tubing water-cooled build. Even after doing some revisions and changing the loop around, it still wasn't something that I'd recommend people build, at least in that way. The components were great. I just did a poor, rushed job putting it together, and the end result reflected that. My 3 favorite builds in no particular order. Number 1, the Wounded Warrior PC that I built for Michael. That system came out awesome and he loved it. His reaction was priceless when he saw it, and I feel like we did a good thing that day. The 3950X editing PC build was unexpectedly great. It just packed so much into such a compact system, and I even air-cooled the processor with the new Noctua NHD15 instead of going the expected AIO route for a 3950X. And lastly, what might be your guys' favorite build was also one of mine, the white build from a couple of months ago. Damn, did that come out sexy AF. I've never put so many white components into one case before, and the final product really blew me away. So that's a summary of the past year on BPS Customs and a look into why exactly we do this for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this look back, and I hope that you'll stick around for more. Thanks so much for watching as always, and we'll be back next week with another PC build. Now I just have to go and figure out what that's going to be.